Hello, friend. This is Ryan Hicks of TalkToProfit.com, and today I want to talk to you about something that's very important. It's about your attitude toward life, your perception of life, your expectations in life. I talk to people regularly, and they will come up with these ideas that it's just something they don't even know where it came from sometimes. But they just believe that life has to be hard, it has to be difficult, it has to be suffering, it has to be misery. And there's respites of peace and happiness and joy. But overall, it's just struggle. It's just always a problem, one problem after another. Not necessarily big bad problems, but some of those too, of course. The thing that they're failing to understand is their belief in that kind of limitation, that kind of bad thing must happen to you in life, brings it about. Remember, Jesus said, according to your faith be it unto you. People are experiencing life the way they experience it according to their faith. Now, very often people have confused that and thought, well, that just means for something good. No. Because God's not the one administering the good or bad. You are choosing it. Remember, He sets before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore, you choose life. You choose blessing. It's up to you. You have been given the power by God. You're not taking any power from Him. He's given you this power to choose in your own life, to make a choice. Are you going to follow Him? Are you going to love Him? Are you going to obey His will? Or are you going to do your own thing? Are you going to believe for the worst? Are you going to expect the worst in life? And are you going to receive that? Tragically, that is what most people do. It's not some conscious thing. They're not sitting down thinking, I sure want to believe for the worst. I sure want to expect the worst. I want to expect an awful life or bad things to happen to me in life. But that's basically what they do. Because each day they're looking around to try to find the bad thing that's going to happen. They're expecting it. They're believing for it. They're preaching it to people. Telling people, well, you know, things don't always work out. Or, well, we had some good times, so there's going to be some equal amount of bad times. People actually say that kind of stuff. They really believe it. If you have good, then you have to have some counterweight of bad to even it out. No, there's no evening out needed. You can go from glory to glory, from blessing to blessing, from goodness to goodness, from abundance to abundance, from prosperity to prosperity, from health to health. Just continuing in that goodness and blessing of God in your life with no downturns, with no, I gotta go through this valley to get up to the peak again. No. Don't tell yourself that, and don't allow other people with their bad worldviews, with their lack of faith in God, and their belief in the devil and trust in him. Don't follow their words and their advice and what they give out as popular sayings. Those things are not for you. You rise above that. You be the person of victory, of character, who has the blessed life. Now, that's not to say that everything goes exactly the way you wanted it to, because sometimes, because you want something good and you want it to happen quickly, sometimes you have to go through a little bit of obstacles to get to that, not because God's trying to keep you and prevent you and teach you some lessons or anything like that, but because that's the fastest way there. And the way that you were thinking, which may have seemed like smooth sailing in your limited understanding of what all is going to go on, was actually going to be a disaster and was going to be terrible for you. It might have gotten you to the end result, but it's going to be a lot harder, a lot longer, and you may not have made it to the end. Because remember, you got to endure to the end. Many people give up halfway before they ever get to their good result they want. So don't discount the fact that sometimes these little obstacles, little hurdles, are not bad, but they're just an easier way for you to get to the end result of the goodness of God in your life. And those obstacles and hurdles are not bad, awful things, terrible things, disastrous things, or anything like that. If that's what you're having, then you need to really examine your life and examine your heart. What are you believing for? What are you speaking forth? Many people are speaking forth words of evil and blasphemy over their own lives. They're telling people that God's doing these awful things to them so they can learn some lessons, or because they haven't been purified enough, or whatever nonsense they tell themselves. It makes it sound spiritual to try to justify the fact they're having a bad life of their own choice, of their own doing. And no, of course, people are not consciously doing this, but they're following the old patterns they've been taught by people who are doing this to themselves. And they've taken that up unthinkingly, not challenging it at all, not daring to question, why am I doing this? Why am I expecting the worst? Why am I believing for the worst? Why am I speaking the worst over my life and other people's lives? They don't think that. They just go through the motions, never challenging it or questioning it. And I hope that some of those people are watching this video right here now, and it is a wake-up call to them. They are having that spark of righteousness spring up in them. They are being awakened to righteousness and starting to see, wait, I've been doing that. I haven't made my ways perfect. I haven't been thinking about the goodness of God and talking the goodness of God and believing for the goodness of God. I've been believing for awful things. I've been expecting that every day in my life. I've been talking that. If something good even is mentioned, I'm talking about something negative. I need to make changes. And I'll tell you, God's grace is sufficient for you, my friend. If you need to make changes, you've been practicing things, doing a certain thing, acting a certain way, there's a better way. And it's called having faith in God. Having the faith of God. Operating like God operates in this world. Speaking boldly, decreeing those things that you want. As Jesus said, you'll have whatsoever you say because you believe in God. Your faith is in God. You have true faith in God. You're not doubting. You're not wavering. And you're expecting the best. And you're speaking the best. And you're receiving the best. My friend, God wants you to be blessed. He wants you to have the good life. He wants you to live that abundant life that He freely gives you. He didn't send His Son to make you suffer. He didn't send His Son to make your life worse, or you got to learn some lessons and go through religious sayings and nonsense. My friend, God wants you blessed. He wants you to have that abundant life. The life that is so joyous, it's so glorious, it's so prosperous, it's so abundant, it's so healthy. That's the life He wants you to have. And I encourage you today to take up that faith walk, believing for the best, speaking the best, and getting the best. My friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.